There. All right, that was weird, but it seems to have worked. All right, so YouTube is all started up, and now we can begin. So, welcome back. We are playing Satisfactory today, and we are working on our supercomputer factory, which means plastic and rubber, as it is meant for the past couple of days, trying to get this stuff working. So, this is still doing all this, and it is, alright, we see a yellow flicker there. So what are you doing? You don't have enough plastic output. But all of these look good. Maybe the fuel is a bit low here, but if it's in the 20s, it should be going along nicely. So I don't know what that's about. But it's possible that it's mostly fixed. Let's see, this is the one which was slow, right? This is doing rubber for these two. So it's outputting 40 rubber. This is taking 10, this is taking 30, so that all checks out. And this is hovering around the 27-ish. Alright, now you're yellow. You're yellow because this isn't going full speed. And that isn't going full speed because this isn't, and it's fuel shortage. But I don't think the fuel shortage is real. I think there is enough fuel, and it's just like spending some time propagating through or something. So let's see if we can accelerate that. We put a pipeline there and then connect that across. Now these guys should have more direct access to fuel, if the amount of fuel we're producing is enough, which we might have done the math wrong. So we're going to have to figure out how much we actually need. Now let's see if I can remember, maybe looking at what it's actually producing, because it's nearly 100%. So looking at what the actual production is should jog my memory. So this is producing 660. So the plastic we would need would be 1856 total. So, okay, so that is 300. This is 360, right? I'm remembering that, which means this is 360 fuel. This is 300 fuel. And that's more than a full pipe. But it's being fed from multiple pipes. So this section here gets some from the smaller section over there, which is, I want to say like 400 fuel or something like that. And then it's getting some spare from here, but not that much. So we're going to go back up here and see if these are all working. I see a whole lot of green lights, which is always a good sign. So these all look functional. And let's check, because these were having issues last time, but they look fine now. Alright. I don't want to speak too soon, but we might have gotten everything all sorted out. And then, but then these are still doing this. Alright, so one thing that needs to be changed is this is technically producing 3.75 more fuel, more plastic than it's supposed to be. Because this is 660 when it should technically be 656.25. So that might not be helping. So let's find somewhere that we want to change that for. So this is 60. Instead we're going to make it 56.25. And this will be 56.25 divided by 3. And this will be 18.75 times 2. Alright. Correct numbers have been placed. And hopefully that will make a very minor difference, which will boost all these up to 100%. But they don't look good. They actually look very bad. They're down to 80% now. And I can't figure out why, because this looks like it's filling up completely. So if this is completely filled up, then it should be running at 100% or so. And I don't know, maybe it is. It looks like it's going up. So yeah, it got up to 46.5 that time. Where is it going to get up to this time? Just going to wait and see. Oh yeah, much further than that. It's gonna probably almost fill soon. There we go. Alright, so if that is mostly filling up, then this pipe will also fill up. And then the whole system should get extras across as well. And these are going to take some time to catch up, but it should be working just fine. And then, are all of these good? Yeah, I think we might have solved it there. Oh, nope, this one over here is blinking yellow. Alright, so this one over here still isn't getting enough fuel. But it should be pretty close, because if that is saturated, then this should be getting the spares from that direction. So up it goes. Alright, that was a big burst of fuel there. I don't know what that's about. But it seems to be filling very rapidly. Like, sort of suspiciously quickly. It shouldn't be going this fast, I don't think. But if that's what it's gonna do, that's what it's gonna do. And it'll equalize out soon anyways. Okay, now it's slowed down and isn't filling fast at all. I wish I knew why. I really wish I knew why that happened. So now this is just straight up emptying again. Very, very mysterious. Very mysterious indeed. Hopefully whatever happened to make that occur solves itself and it'll fill up again. These ones aren't emptying, right? Right. It must have received like a burst of fuel from this direction or something. That's the only thing that makes sense. I don't know why it did that. And it looks like it did it again, but much smaller. I don't know. It's weird, but it's probably very close to functional anyways. I would really prefer it just be filled up, and then we wouldn't have to worry about it. So we can turn this off temporarily, so that will add 20 spare fuel into the system, which should help. And this will last for, what, this is 40 a minute, so it'll last for 4 or 5 minutes like this, before that even needs to be turned back on. So let's, hopefully that will make a difference somehow. I don't know how. Okay, now this one is not even filled. There must be a fuel failure up here then. That has to be, right? So that is coming from this pipe. And around here, and through this way, all of these, oh, except maybe these last two on the end. So these are all have full pipes coming out of them. No, those are just loading in still. So this row is all good. And we're only worried about these ones over here anyways. And then this one is still good. Yeah, so that is 400, almost 500 fuel there. And another 600 fuel here. So that's what, 1,092 fuel across 2 pipes. And a lot of it is going this way. I think that might be 492 or something, and then some of it is going this way. And these are starting to run out. No, this one is back up to normal. Alright, we're going to turn that one off again, just to make the fuel show up as fast as possible. And it might be that too much of the fuel is coming from one direction or the other. Like, there's hardly any going through here. I don't understand why that's so slow. There should be a lot more. Because the only other thing this is connected to is this one, which is not a full 600. And it's not connected up to anything else, right? It's connected up to just these two. So I don't understand why nothing is coming through that pipe. Let's just trace this along to make sure that it's not connected in anywhere. So this comes along here, then loops around this way. It's not connected to any of that stuff. And then it goes around to here. Alright. Maybe... Okay, maybe this is what's happening, is that it's prioritizing going around here and going on. No, that doesn't make sense, does it? That doesn't make any sense at all. That would not be an issue. That one has fuel. This one has fuel. Okay, but it is connected into this line here. So what I'm thinking is that this pipe isn't getting priority, so it's all going like through here and around and then into there, which is potentially a problem because of this pipe. So if this pipe might not be outputting enough, maybe. Alright, so let's try something here. Gotta try something. So if we put a valve there so that fluids from this pipe can't go this way. So that should mean that this pipe only deals with that section, and then the rest goes through here. And we do see that this is now flowing at like 100-ish almost immediately. So hopefully that is the fix that was needed. So this is up to 99%. This is down to 20% somehow. Oh, because I turned this one off. That would be why. Alright, so we're going to give this... Now, let's just turn this on now. We want to have a bit of a buffer in there. And instead, we can shift that to over here so that that one can drain a little bit. Because we still want to let this manifold more quickly by having spare fluid in the pipes. That would be very beneficial. Alright, do we just... If we just valve that off, are these going to have trouble accessing fuel? It's going to be a while before we can tell because there's so much in the pipes already. But that should send more around here, which should help. Alright, let's see. Is that actually making any improvements? Are these pipelines doing fine? These machines are doing fine. Alright, that all looks good. And then this is flowing pretty quick now. At least occasionally, when it feels like it. But then, where is that going? It's all going this way, I guess. Alright, that's probably fine. Okay, this is now out of fuel again. I really dislike that this keeps being an issue. So is there anywhere in here where we just have a ton of spare fuel that isn't making it over there? No, it's pretty much being fully utilized everywhere we look. Alright, let's go over here and turn this machine back on. We don't want that to be something which creeps up on us and is secretly an issue a long time from now when we forget we did that. Okay, now this isn't hardly getting any fuel. Alright. This fuel is coming in sort of waves. Now there's still... Alright, no, this machine here was just off temporarily, and its output blocked. Okay, that is both concerning and a bit encouraging, because at least it's a pretty obvious issue. So, these machines are the ones which go over here. And we set up that loop, which is apparently not enough. And yeah, it looks like all of these might be output blocked. So what we're going to do is we're going to come over here, slap a junction on, put a floor hole in, and take it down. So then this pipe can come over here. And I guess we're going to go over here. And we need to get around all this stuff to go over this way. And then I guess down there. Now this pipe can come over. And I guess just snap into that. So that should first provide a nice solid surge of fluid here. Why are you not flowing at all? It's magical. Alright, cool. Through the power of magic, we have 600 flow rate into here and functionally 0 coming out. Alright, let's take that out. And now we have significant flow rate coming out of both of these sides. Alright, so that is good. And so that side is going to have tons of fuel. Now we just need to get fuel into this side. So let's do that. Let's do that and see what happens. So this is filling up now. These pipes are filling up, which was desperately needed because somehow they had stopped. Alright. Please say that this is working. I mean, this is definitely filling up. So the question is, have we just pushed the problem around again, or have we actually solved it? And we won't really be able to know that until these machines are all filled and there are no issues elsewhere. Alright, so that is that machine filled up. And the input pipe is just about full. So now we're filling up these ones, and it should all be set. Alright, so that's that. Now we just have to hope that we haven't just borrowed all of our fuel output from somewhere else, and that we're still stable in these other places. Like here, for example. Is this row doing okay? Hard to say. But it does look good. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of full pipes over here. But a lot of empty pipes here. Oh, but they're filling fast. Alright, so this section is now filling up. And yeah, these pipes are all getting full. All the machines coming off of them are full. Alright, I mean, that looks very, very promising. So now the question is, are there any other problems that I've missed? And also, why is the lighting so wonky here? Alright, I don't see any yellow lights just cruising around. Now, it could be that there's still going to be a period of time before we have them show up. But I think... I don't want to celebrate too early, but I think we might have done it. Assuming that stuff up here is also going well, which all looks green there, all looks green there. I think we've done it. I think... Now let's just check the sinks to confirm that the numbers are correct. So this is 656. That's what it should be. This is 300, as it should be. This is 300, as it should be. This is 600, as it should be. Alright, this rubber is 600, which is correct. So then we have to fly all the way to the other side to see the rest of the rubber production. So this is 600, and this is 440 something, which I believe is correct. Alright, I want to say that plastic and rubber production is done. I want to say that. I would really like to be correct when I say that, but I'm going to say it. I think we've done it. I think we've done it, unless this... You're down to 36 fuel and you're not getting any. Alright, nope, we haven't done it. This line is broken for some reason. Of course it is. So this is gonna be a problem. So where is the spare fuel? Because there's hardly any coming through this pipe still. Except for when there sometimes is. Of course. And that's all going into saturating that. Alright, please say we can just crank this valve up and have it work. Please let that be the case. Alright, the valve has been activated. And we are getting some fuel into here. It's going to be enough to fill it up. I don't know if it's going to be enough to keep it filled permanently. But this one is also filling. And it's this whole row. How is this whole row this bad? It should be getting fuel from the other side too. And it very much isn't. Alright, there is very, very little fuel here. Which is a problem. So that is because this is all getting its fuel from this one, which has to go all the way around. And is ultimately connected into that same pipe here. So the problem is that this pipe, which should be transporting nearly 600, is instead transporting virtually nothing. Probably because it's all going down that other pipe, but if it's all going down that other pipe, you would expect that to just saturate and then not be an issue anymore. So yeah, currently we have like half of it going down here and half of it going down the other one. And that's causing shortages. It should also then theoretically be causing these to backlog. Let's check these guys. No, they all look like they're producing correctly. Alright, then where is the extra fuel going? That's always the question. If the fuel isn't going to where I want it to go, then where is it going? So how do we have 496 fuel coming through here? Alright, this seems to have potentially bugged again. Or no, it just was actually at 0 there. Alright, how do we solve that? Let's disconnect that. Because the more separate things are, the more easy it is to tell what the issues are, and then we can reconnect them as we need to. So that has been disconnected. And let's see, all of these machines look like they're doing fine on fuel. Alright, the problem may have gone away. Yeah, it might have been a temporary thing while other machines were saturating around. That sort of thing is pretty common. So that is fluctuating. Alright, please say that it's good. It looks better. Now I'm worried that the thing that I disconnected is going to be important, and we're going to need it. But hopefully that's not the case. So that would have been taking fuel from this line over to here. So are these all doing fine? Yes, they look normal. Although it's always hard to tell with fluids because of the way they work. And also the fact that this whole thing is connected into here, which is, again, probably not ideal in terms of keeping things distinct and clear where the issues lie, but if it works, it works. It looks like it works. Unless these pipes are emptying, which they probably are. Or maybe they're filling up again. I don't know. We're gonna move on and come back later because it's going to just be too hard to tell in the short term. So, next step is refinement of copper and caterium. So, let's go down here. Is that radiation going to be in the way? Possibly. Possibly, but hopefully not. So, we need to go down a floor, not up there. Alright, so we have to zoop down, but then not all the way down, because we already had one built in. And now we have our new floor, which is going to be dealing with completely different stuff from all the fuel-related stuff. We just have water, copper ore, and caterium ore, and we gotta make some ingots. Alright, so that all goes out like that, gives us plenty of space to work with. And then we get the refineries in. So, how much is this gonna be? Pure copper is 37.5 per minute per refinery, and we need 1,679. So 1,679 divided by 37.5 is 448. Did I put an additional? Oh, I did. I put an additional 7 in. Thank goodness. I was panicking. I was like, oh god, this is awful. Alright, no. 44.78. That's much more reasonable. So, how do you even work with 37.5? 37.5 times 2 is 75. Times 3 is 225. Times 4 is 300. 375, 450, 525, 600, 675. Wait, why do I have multiplied by 2 in there? I'm just trying to get to, like, a number that's on a belt. And it's not going to happen. Alright, this is fine. We're probably going to underclock this then to 30 output, or no, actually the 15 input works quite nicely. 12 input would be like 1 to 6, and we don't really need the outputs to be even. Yeah, so let's just do that and get a blueprint machine in. So we need to go up, build a blueprint for these, because I am not doing all that by hand. That would take forever. Up we go. And refinery. 1, 2, 3, 4 refineries, which all merge up together like that, and then they output onto the mergers. And this is going to be a case of multiple full belts of output, so we're going to want to have that and do that. Please say it fits. There we go. It barely fits, but hopefully that should be enough space for it to auto-snap together. So now we have to take these and we have to set them first. So pure copper. There we go. And we need to merge these up into one belt. And we want to be compact about it, if possible. But we need to leave space for the fluids. Let's see here. How do we do that? Let's get the fluid pipe in first so that we know what we're working with here. So this is going to go along like that and stop just shy of the edge in both cases. And that is enough space for these to go in. So we get all this set up. Pipelines are in. They're a bit wonky looking, but that's fine. So now we need to fit in the splitters. So the first thing we need is we need a main line going across like this. That is going to be the auto connecting bit. So this would be write any, center overflow, and fast belts. Alright, so that is in there. Now we need... Wait, that's facing the wrong way. We need that to be connected in with a Mark 1. And then 2 more splitters like this. Oh, and this one should be a little bit off to the side there. So then that all goes like that. This one goes in like that. And we should be good to just put in the power pole, which can squeeze in there. Connect them all up. And that should be that. Alright. Pretty simple blueprint. So this is going to be pure copper. And it is 60 copper ore to... What's 375 times 4? 150? Copper ingots. And then there's also, what, 40 water, I think? Because it's 10 each and there's 4 of them. Yep, that's correct. Alright, so now we can clear that and drop down and start building. And as we pass by, I see a whole lot of green. That's a good sign. Yeah, alright. So that's just a quick check, but it turned up good. So, we get these in, and we're going to need 10 of these. Or no, we're going to need 11, because it's 150 times 10 is 1500, times 11 is 1650, which is more than... no, technically, we're going to need slightly more than 11. We're just going to put one additional machine on at the end, I guess. Alright, so let's leave room around the edges for various stuff going in and out. And we get 1. And we're going to need to expand this out a long ways. And then each of those batches is 60. And if we're going to need 11 of them plus a little bit. That would be 660, which we can all fit in a single belt, so that's fine. And we should also be able to do this off of a single pipe. So, build mode, blueprint, auto connect. And just start popping them in. So that's 2. That's 3. And now we have to keep expanding this over. So there we go. Alright. That is 4 and 5. So we can get one more in and then do a second row maybe, just for keeping it compact and relatively square, because that's more space efficient than the giant lines. Alright, so we have all of these in. How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright, we technically put one too many in this row, but that's fine. Alright, so now we go over here. And the outputs are definitely going to have to be multiple belts, so we're going to leave space for them. Leave multiple foundations of space. And let's see, how many belts are we going to need? So 1679 divided by 780. Missed a 7 there, is slightly more than 2. So yeah, we're not going to need all that much extra space, just like a spare foundation or two. So let's pop this in and have it facing this way, just so that all the outputs are in the same zone. And then we can give it that much extra space without problems. And pop that in. Now, is this going to be pointing the other direction? Yes, so that output is pointing that way, that output is pointing that way. Shouldn't matter, but I'm just going to have to keep that in mind. Alright, now we can expand all of this out. And a little bit more. So there we go. Alright, that should be enough space for what we're doing. Alright, that's 9, 10, 11, and 12, although we don't need most of the 12th. So now let's double count and also just get rid of some of these trees. There we go. Trees dealt with. And where's my coffee cup? It's been a while since I've had the coffee cup in hand. Let's do that. Alright, so we have this. And this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And this is 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 12 times 4 is 48. 1679 divided by 48 is 34.9, which means that we have the right numbers here. Alright, so now what we need to do is we actually need to take this belt here, wrap it around to connect to that input belt there. And just go over here. That's an awkward place to have put it in between two foundations. So now I have to run out a slightly longer bridge. Alright, now we just connect this up to there. And forwards. And like that. So that will provide copper to everything. And I just realized, did I put this belt in the blueprint? I did. Cool. I didn't mess up. So now we have to connect power lines across all of these and then bring them up to something. This goes over, snaps into this row, and then this row can not place a random new power line that I don't need. Thank you. You get connected in. And almost done with this. There. Alright, so that should be all of those connected up to each other. Now we just need to connect this up to some place that has power, which I guess we can grab you, fly up to this floor, and connect into that, I guess. Alright, so now all of these are showing as yellow. And we need to bring water up here. If I remember correctly, I do have one spare water pipe. So we can do that nice and easy. Just grab a junction off of this and bring it over. That's not what I wanted to do. I need to get this around the wall, I guess. So out like that and then over. There we go. Alright, the flow rate there is 302, which is not enough. We're going to hook it up and then check to see, because this needs a flow rate of 460, 470, somewhere in there, I think. So if this is only half a pipe, then we're going to need to change that. Alright, it's connected up to this whole thing, but should be connected up to a full pipe. And it should be fine, probably. Let's just add an additional water extractor or two here, just to make sure. Alright. So that's an additional 360. which I don't know where it needs to go. So we're just gonna send it in to that, and hopefully it will account for any problems which may or may not exist. So now we have to get all these powered up. And started. So these are now going to be extracting water once they get booted up. There we go. Oh, there's also this one which was never powered. Let's get you powered on. And hopefully that will push some stuff around and make sure that this pipe is a full water pipe if it wasn't already. Which I think it was, but you can never be too sure. Alright, so now we go back up. And this is showing 600 water flowing through it, which is probably correct, assuming that it's just saturating all the pipes and all the machines, which is probably what it's doing. Oh, and I need to connect it into the other half as well. So that comes along this way and into there. Alright, so now we have all those machines attached up to water, and it's good to get that in first because the copper ore will be balanced properly, whereas the water won't, so it's going to need to saturate. And at 600 a minute, it should be, even for these, pretty quick to get through all of them. Let's run over here, because this one and that one would be the last couple. So this one absolutely has not gotten any water at all. Unsurprising, considering I just connected it moments ago. This one, on the other hand, it's starting to get there. It's making significant progress on filling up these. So that should be fine. And then we just want to connect these up via the other side. So first, let's get the loop in, and then we take the loop and we are going to connect it back up to the start, which won't improve the overall capacity, but will make it slightly closer to being load balanced, which is beneficial. So this pipe comes along, and it's all going to have to get connected up back there. As good a spot as any for it. Alright, so now we should have water into all of these, except it'll probably still be in the process of making it over here. Yep, it's going. Alright. But it should be plenty, because this is 10 each, and there are, what, 48 of them or so? And we can even go in to underclock the last couple of these that need underclocking. Alright, so we have 12 batches. So divided by 37.5 is 44.773. So if we go 48 minus that is 3.22 machines, which we don't need. 3.226667 is... So 3 of these machines in the last set go off. One of them gets set to 0.773%. Alright, you get set to that, which is 29. Does that make sense? 16... Alright, what's actually 37.5 times 40... What would it be? Times 40... just 40? Would be 1,500. So then, times 44 would be 1,650. So we would need 29 more. Yes, that all checks out. So you are set there, and then these 3 all go away. Alright. And we do have water through the entire system as well. So now we just have to connect up the output belts. So, how much... What about 780? 780 divided by 37.5, that's a dash instead of a 0, is 20.8. So we can handle 20 of these on a single belt. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So those 20 are one belt, and then these remaining ones are another, and then those are not quite 20, so that can be the third belt. Actually, do I want to make this a full belt? Yeah, let's make this actually two full belts and a partial belt. 1679 divided by 780 is 2.15. So, in order to do that, we... How do I... No, that's going to be too much work. We're going to go 3 belts at whatever rate they're currently at, and then we can correct the splitting later. It's going to be a lot easier to correct the splitting when they're all in one place. Alright, so then those go like that. And then you shouldn't be in straight mode, because straight mode is bad at straight lines, because of course it is. It's one of the funniest things about Satisfactory, that straight mode is meant for corners. Because if you do straight mode on a long straightaway, sometimes it gets ever so slightly bent, and that messes absolutely everything up and is horrible, so don't do that. So yeah, just use, if you're doing a straightaway, just use default mode. Alright, so now we have our 3-ish belts. None of which are quite full, but we can deal with that. I mean, it's going to be very simple to fix that, to make it to 2 full belts and 1 partial, or whatever other split we need. So now we just have to get... Okay, I just realized that the one that I set up to be slower is technically just like randomly in the middle, which is not ideal, so I'm going to have to change the settings on the Smart Splitter for that. But that's fine. It's not a big deal. So this is going to be center any right overflow so that all of those will fill up instead of just pointlessly saturating this one real quick. Alright, now we have to get our belt of copper ore, which apparently is 671.6, so not quite a full belt, but reasonably close. So we go all the way up to the trains for the first time in a while. Just scan everything as we pass. All looks normal to me. So that's Caterium. This one is copper. So we put a quick foundation here. And now we can merge it all up. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So now all of these get attached up like so, and they all have plenty of copper on them. And there should be plenty of copper waiting in the train as well. So this connects up. And it's going to have to immediately drop below so that it doesn't run into the train. And then we have to get it over to... Oh, that's facing the wrong way. So that goes in there. And the copper goes into it. Now this comes over. And is that just another random factory there? I didn't realize we were so close to that. Huh. Interesting. Oh well. Not really. Not a big deal. So this comes over to here. And then what we need to drop down, is that going to fit past the refinery? Yes, it is. So then it's going to go there. And this is a bit of a crowded area. So we need to take it just over this way a little bit so that it stays out of the way. And then we can go down again. Alright, we're probably fine to skip that floor. And here we are. So we might have to put floor holes in if we want to expand these floors out, but for now this is fine. And this just goes into here. Alright, and now we should also get the sinks in for the copper ingots, because we obviously aren't quite ready to deal with them yet. And that's going to be... Actually, let's at least get them merged up first, so that they're all aligned properly. Alright, so then this goes over that input belt. And then we get 1, 2, and 3 sinks in. And they go 1. Oh, is that? What's going on with that? Well, we get 2. And then we're going to need to power them up. One of these belts is wrong, though, and I don't know how. Alright. What is going on with you? Did I connect this belt into the wrong side of the merger? Must have. Yeah, it's coming from the side, so that's definitely wrong. Alright, so this needs to come out like that. And then forwards. And keep going forwards. And it's a shame there isn't a just like reverse belt direction button like there might be in Factorio, for example. We just have to drag this along like so. And just a little bit more. Then that goes up. No, it doesn't go up there. It first stops there, then goes up there, and then goes down into there. Alright. So, copper ingots done. Alright, so next up we have... Well, we should just verify that this is working first. The input seems solid. The output seems solid. It's probably all good. So the question is going to be the water and whether I've missed anything in all of this. But it looks fine. So this is going to fill up with copper ore in a minute. And then that will stop being extra, and then the whole thing should just be functional. Alright, so that's pretty good. Now there's no way of telling how much this is, so let's change that. Throughput. Alright, so with those 3 throughput monitors, we should be able to figure out if these numbers add up to 1679 or not. And that's possibly going to be complicated by the fact that some of these guys might have internal buffers. But that looks like it might not be the case. So this shouldn't be 780. It should be slightly less than 780. So I don't know why it is. Alright, I do see a yellow light back here. Let me guess. Water. No, actually. Everything looks fine, actually. Weird, but okay. Alright. So yeah, I mean this all looks good for now at least. We're gonna have to give it a minute to warm up, and then we have 780 plus 297 plus 625. Oh, that's gone up to 315. The numbers are still changing. We're gonna have to let them settle before we figure out what exactly it actually is. And the fact that this has all these gaps might make it difficult figure out exactly. But I don't know how this is a full 780. 37.5 times 20 is 750. So we should be a good solid 30 short of 780 on this belt, but it looks like it's full. And it's not like magically connected in to anything extra, right? Did I miscount maybe? No, I don't think so, because that ends exactly on this line, so it's 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, yes. So this should be 750, not 780. And it's a bit strange. It's a bit strange that it's working like that. There's got to be something in here which is causing that to happen. And it's not that these have too much output. I don't know. We're not going to worry about it. The lights are all green, and I did the math, and the math should be good. So we are just going to move on and do Caterium. So let's do that just back here, since it's basically the same thing. And in fact, we might be able to use the same blueprints and then just copy-paste the settings across, although actually probably not, because this input speed might be different. Production, refinery, pure Caterium. Yeah, so this is 24 Caterium ore per minute, and it's 24 to 12. So how much Caterium do we need? 335.8 ingots, which is going to be more than a pipe of water. It's going to be 671.6 water. Whereas the copper was much more water efficient. Alright, so let's just set this up, and it's going to be a 1 to 3, I think. Yeah, so 1 to 4 would be 24 times 4 is 96, which isn't a convenient number. If we could fit 5 in a blueprint, that would be convenient, but we can't. There's only enough space for 3. So instead, we're going to do 20 times 3 is 60. And I mean, there's definitely no way that we can do this, right? Yeah, because that's more. So we're just going to get 3 in and underclock them a little bit. And actually, can we load up? We've got to have... Okay, that's a different size blueprint. We've got to have a thing in here somewhere. Apparently not. I do not see anything here which could be it. So we're going to load up the copper one that we just made and then just tear it up a little bit. So you go away. And we're going to have to take out everything associated with it. So all of these belts go away. And that belt is going to have to go away just to make the spacing right. Speaking of making the spacing right, we're gonna need this to be a 1 to 3. So all that goes away. We get in our splitter. And it goes there. And there. And there. I take that conveyor pole out as well. And this conveyor pole. Alright, then this smart splitter is going to have to be moved, so we're going to have to take that out. And that goes there, connects up with the Mark 1 belt. And now we can go pure Caterium. Oh, but I should have set this down to 10 first before copy and pasting. So that is 60 Caterium ore per batch. And now this just has to go out like that for the auto connection. As does this. So you do that. And it's going to be a bit of a miracle if that connects properly across. But I think it will. Alright, so then we have the pipes in, we have the power line. I think this should be good. So this is pure Caterium, which is 60 Caterium ore and 60 water to 30 Caterium ingots. Alright, so now we can save that and clear it. And let's take all that stuff. We're going to have to do inventory management soon, but that's a problem for the near future. So now we drop down here. And if this makes 30 each, we're going to need 12 of them again. Yeah, that checks out. Literally the same percentages, I think. Although the numbers are going to be different. Alright, this tree needs to go. There we go. Tree dealt with. So, we can get you in, and let's see, you are lined up like this, and like that. That should be plenty of space between the two sets. So now we have these all going in. Like that. Are they auto-connecting across? No. They aren't seeing each other. The pipes aren't seeing each other. The belts are. But, alright, that's fine. I'm not going to go back up and fix it. We're just going to deal with that. So, yeah, I think I know why. It's because the end is a junction as opposed to just like the end of a pipe. But we're gonna just ignore that and fix it manually. So we need 12 of these, and they should be more compact than the other ones, which is nice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now this all goes back there. And I think we're just going to do this one all in one row since it's shorter. So that's 6, 7, and then just have to expand this back as far as it will go. This is going to take up a fair amount of space, and we're going to go into some trees here. 8, 9, 10. Expand the floor out more. Always need a nice solid foundation. We're going to need to get rid of some more terrain. Alright, that's that tree dealt with. Now we're going to have to get rid of some of these. That explosive did not go nearly as far as I was expecting it to. Alright, just get this one last tree and we should be good to go. Alright, how many of these did we have? I lost count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So just 2 more, and one of them is going to be extra short. So 11 and 12. And we really need to get power connection back here, because that is annoying. Just dropping out of the sky like that constantly. So this all goes across. And there we go. And connect them all back. And we have yellow lights across the board. So now we have to connect all these fluid pipes. So all the fluid pipes go across. And this is a little bit annoying, but not really. And then we're going to need to actually bring water up for this, which is going to have to come in 2 pipes, because it's going to be 671.6 water. Alright, but it's all connected up now. So, let's drop down and find some spare water. Actually, we probably have spare water from this, right? Because this is like 400 water. So we're only going to need 1 extra pipe. Assuming that my quick calculations on the water supply are correct. Alright, let's just pass by that. Not get too close to the radiation. Alright, and the good news is, I believe once we're done with these copper ingots, we are just done with fluids entirely. I think. Unless I'm using some alt recipe that I'm forgetting about. But I don't think I am. Alright, so let's get this in. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we connect them all across. And then connect them across to each other. Alright, so now we have that. And we're going to start it up. Let's not place a random pipeline junction. Let's connect this power pole to all of these. And then connect it to something like this. Like that. Alright, so now this is producing water. We need to get it around. So this comes over here. We need to attach it into this, which we are running out of space, but we should have just barely enough. If we do that, then that can come in there, and then loop around and come back out. Alright, now we go up the hill, and up the rest of this hill, and then up the building. Alright, just gotta curve around all the rest of these guys. Of course, I didn't leave space on this wall for an additional pipe. Why would I do that? Can I just get you to, like, snap to the edge? No, I guess you can go up this side. And then like that. And across. Alright, tiny dead zone, but it is a tiny one. And then this has to go up just a tiny bit. Benefits of building downwards from the factory instead of upwards. We are approaching ground level. So this just has to sneak under that. And then come around here. So that goes like there. And then up into that. Alright, and then that is going to be filling up with water, but only 600 a minute instead of 671 a minute. So now we take one of these guys and actually just take a branch from back here. So you come across and we're going to need a bit of a foundation for it to rest on. And then we loop it into there. And that is water. Alright. So this should be filling up from both sides. And it should be filling up fast enough. So hopefully that doesn't break the copper production. It shouldn't. We should have enough water in total. Alright, yeah, it's definitely filling up from this side as well. And so now we just have to go and grab the Caterium, and by the time we do that, the water should be all the way through. So up we go. Up one more level. And the Caterium is this one, which is a bit cramped, but totally manageable. So the mergers all are going to go in. And then we just connect it all up. So there we go. And now we have to bring all of these across. Alright, now we have a belt of Deuterium. And down we go. Alright, so how does this get to where we need it to be? I guess we have to, like, do something silly like this. Alright, and you be in default mode, not straight mode. Alright, so that is the hopper. So we want to just sort of go around that. We need to get a bit over this way. And then, let's see here. Let's just put a floor hole in there. And then connect it in. Like that. Alright, so that is that. And now this has to come over this way some more. And it needs to go down through here again, just like the other one. So down we go. And down again. And there you are. Now, I think you just go in there. And then we're good. This is going to produce more Deuterium than we need. We have to fly to the other side and decelerate the last bit. So we need 335.8. Each one of these machines makes... Each one of these batches makes 30. Oh, I never set the splitters. Alright, that's fine. So we can just fix this real quick. Take you two out. Set you to 5.8. And now we have to set the splitters to write any center overflow. And paste that across all of these. There you go. And just about there. One more, and Deuterium done. So then we just need to put this into a sink. So special, awesome sink, and in. And then we power that up, and that's Deuterium done. And with it, that is all of the fluids. I'm pretty sure. That's all the fluids. If it isn't, then I'll be a bit sad, but pretty sure I've done the math right. Alright, so that looks good. We see a lot of green. Now we go up here and see a whole lot of green as well. Alright, I think we are set up to build the solids section of the factory, which will, I think, be up here, so that we don't have to worry about keeping on going down. We're going to flip back to going above. So we need a wall which goes up to there, and one more. Alright, so we have this. And this is going to expand out to this way. Okay. So now we just need to get all of the resources up here, which is going to be a lot of work. So let's get belts labeled for all of them and give them each a decent amount of space. Is this enough room in this area? Yeah, there should be enough room to do some adjusting here if we need to. So we are going to have 1636 rubber is, I believe, 3 belts. So let's get those in and put signs in. So this is rubber and we don't copy the settings, we just copy the whole sign. So that is 3 of these, and let's just get them all lined up. Alright, next up, plastic is still, I believe, 3 belts, right? 1856 divided by 3 is 618, so yes. So then we get... Oh wait, does that mean... No, yeah, because if it were above 780, then it would be a problem, but it isn't, so it's not. Alright, so now we get a sign, and this sign is plastic. And there we go. Please don't align weirdly. So there we go. 3 belts of rubber, 3 belts of plastic. Next up, we have a belt of Caterium. No, let's do the petroleum coke first. 2850 divided by 780 is 4, so it's 4 belts of petroleum coke. Which is a lot. Petroleum coke and petroleum coke. Now we put the display signs in. Alright, then we have a bit more space over this way, which the factory beneath us goes very long, so this is not wasting space. So then we have the copper ingots and Caterium ingots. So let's go with copper ingots next, which is going to be 3 belts. So let's get that in, and copper ingots, and label it copper ingots. Then each of these signs goes in, and that's our 3 belts of copper. And then finally we have 1 belt of Caterium ingots. Alright, so now we just have to get all of those resources up into these. Which is going to be just a lot of coordinating. But then once it's done, we'll have everything we need all in one place. Then we can just build a nice factory here and be good to go. So we're going to start with the rubber. So we drop down here. And rubber production. This is supposed to be 0, I believe. So this is 430 something, which is probably correct. So we take the sink out, and yes, it's been annoying that we have to take the sink out, because I do ultimately want there to be a sink there. But we just didn't leave ourselves the space for it here. So we're going to take the sink out, put it back in, power it back up. What are you connected to? Back there, I guess. And then we want to go center overflow right any. So now this belt will go up. And it'll apparently only go up to there because there's a pipe in the way. So let's get all the rubber coordinated together first. So this is 600. And can I squeeze... I can squeeze a smart splitter onto this. So center, overflow, right, any. So this goes up to, again, just underneath the next floor. And then we have to head over here to grab the last belt, because I annoyingly had it sent the other way back before I was really properly planning all this. Alright, so you get a smart splitter, which is center overflow, left, any, and then this comes up to there. So that should be all the rubber. And now we just bring it over this way. And just keep going. It's going to be a lot of coordinating belts around here. Alright, so then this comes over here and is in approximately the same location as the other one. And ultimately we want to get it over that way, but we also want to leave room for the rest of them to take their time getting there, because they're all of the belts are going to be going through that area. So if we can take this rubber over this way first, that would be somewhat beneficial. Gosh, I really do not like working on the ceilings. Alright, so then this we are going to send up here. And you get just 3 holes like that. Nice and compact. In you go. 1, 2, 3, and now we have them here. So we need them to go directly up, which is gonna be like this, if there's even space there. Alright, so up they go. And up they go. And up you go. Alright, there is room here. So now we need to get you up onto this level on the other side of the train tracks. So we expand that ceiling out, and then pretty sure this lines up. It does. Alright, so that is that. And now we just need to get these from here over to there. A little bit easier said than done, but that's what we're doing all this in one batch for, so we can just get all of this sort of coordinating stuff out of the way first, and then not have to worry about it nearly as much later. So this comes up here, and we'll leave some room for the trains, but not too much. Alright, so that now we have those out and facing the right way. We just need to figure out exactly what path they're going to take. So I think they're just going to go over here and then up and in at the last moment. So let's see if we can work from this side. It's going to be cramped in here once all these are in, so we need to be a bit careful. We can, for the later ones, if we start running out of room on this side, we can go over to there, but we also have this gap above the trains, so it should be okay. And let's see, what we need to do is expand this out this way. I think that's going to be necessary. It's going to involve taking this wall out and the ladder out. And let's take that wall out as well because it's distracting. Okay, hopefully that power line wasn't like the linchpin holding everything together. Doesn't look like it. We'll know if everything stops working, I guess. Actually, I'd better just make that connection back up again. And we can actually check, right? No, that's not showing us anything. Okay, it doesn't look like that made any difference, so it's probably fine. Alright, so anyways, what were we doing? Right, we were getting these across over to here. So we need to get these over to the other side of the tracks. So they go out like that. And out like that. And then forward like that. Alright, this whole wall just needs to go. Goodbye, wall. Alright, we technically left a little bit of a gap there, but I think just because of how the belts curve, that's mostly just unavoidable. So if we are back here, and we have our belt going along like this, then it goes up, And that should... Okay, no, we were slightly off. That's fine. So instead of there, it has to be just one tick there. Let's try that. So we go in there. This comes up. And goes straight across. Alright, so now we just have to get the rest of these in. And then we will have rubber available. I'm going to have to work with conveyor poles so that we don't get auto-snapping incorrectly. Alright, so those are all in. And now we connect around that corner. And that was placed too high. So that, and that. And you go straight across, and you are going to have to do a little bit of a zigzag, but that's fine. Alright, now we just have the simple task of connecting these belts up to those belts, despite the fact that they're slightly off-center. Alright, so then these need to go like this. And now we should be good to go. So these come across. And then they all go there. And then they go a little bit further because they're just barely too long to fit. And now we connect these up. And that is rubber. That is rubber dealt with. Just like 10 more belts to go. How many belts do we have actually? So we have 3. We have 3 done, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 left. Alright. Well, on to the plastic. Which hopefully will be able to do something vaguely similar. Alright, so we drop down here. And we find our plastic, which is unfortunately collecting up on this side. Which is not really where I want it to be. But it's fine. Alright, so we take the throughput monitor out, because we're past the need for that really. Pop a smart splitter in. Now this is center overflow right any. And this is going to go up. Actually, we don't need it to go up immediately. We have space here. We can bring you over here. And then you are also going to need a smart splitter. God, this is horrific. How did this happen? Alright, so this is going to have to go over that. And like so. Alright, then I think we take this one, make that a smart splitter, make this left any center overflow, because this is 300 and that one is 300. Which means we can form those up into a belt. And then this is the last belt of 600, which, let's take that throughput monitor out. And smart splitter on there. Left any center overflow. So now that is going to go over this way. And this is going to jump over all of that. These two merge together. So that goes there and there. And then outputs that. And then this comes over here. And then we have our 3 belts of plastic, which are each 600-ish. This one's slightly more than 600. Alright, so now we have to bring this up a bunch of floors. So this, we can expand this floor out over here. And, alright, currently these are not exactly the best aligned in the world, so let's improve that. And much like with the rubber, just have that be nice and compact and organized. Then we bring these 3 down. Like that. And the belts go in. And now we don't have to worry about that absolute chaos anymore. We just have 3 nice, neat belts. So we have to go up another couple of floors. Because we are very far away from everything over here. And we're going to need to grab a power line over here so that we can hover more comfortably. Alright, so then that is going to be necessary. Then we put our floor holes in here. Like so. And then we connect these up. So up you go. And that's plastic up to this floor. And just a couple more. Just a couple more floors, then plastic will be up. Alright, so this comes over here. And out to there, I think. So that is in, and we connect the lifts up. 1, and 2, and 3. Alright, so now we just have to get these over to the plastic section, which is unfortunately just completely on the other side of the new factory. Alright, so these are just going to come across. And okay, we need them to like get clear around this way so that we don't have problems. So let's actually just build this portion of it from the destination and then do it that way. Alright, so these are all the plastic ones, right? Just these three. Yep, those three. Alright, so we're going to have to take out our blueprint designer. So this goes there, and there, and there. And now we go back to default mode to just drag this along that way. And we can meet the plastic up in the middle. Alright, so now we keep going. And we just have to make this last little jog across. And might be able to do this with curved mode and have it look good. Yeah, that does look good. It might technically be clipping, but it doesn't look like it's clipping. It looks like, if anything, it just looks like that conveyor belt gets a bit narrow. Alright, rubber and plastic are up. Next is the petroleum coke, I believe. 4 belts of that. And that is going to be over here. So we drop down past these, and it's this section here. And this is all looking green still. So let's get the splitters on. That's step 1. Smart splitters for days. Because we do want these to have sinks, just so that they will always work even if some other part of the factory breaks. It makes it more disconnected that way, which is always good. So now these belts have to all come over this way, and we're going to meet up over here. You are going to need to go sharper. Not that sharp, though. I guess that sharp will work. Alright. So now we can bring these approximately all together. Like that. And now they can go up. So we need to bring this across a little bit, and then put 4 floor holes just like that. And now, okay, this floor needs to go a little bit forwards, and now these need to come down. So we have these all coming down here. And there. Alright, then this last one is going to need to go back a little bit so that it doesn't get crooked or anything. Alright, now these are a bit higher up to begin with than some of the others, so they're going to be just a little bit less work. So let's grab that foundation bring it over this way. And a couple more. Like that. And let's stick a power line over here. Oh. There we go. So now we'll be able to hover, and that's all that power line is going to be needed for, but it's still useful to have. Alright, so it's this one that it's connected up to. So we put those in there. And these all go up. Alright, just a little bit. Alright, so those are up, and now we are almost done with them. We're going to have to figure out how to get them over here, though. Which is not going to be quite as easy as when we did it with the plastic, because now the plastic is in the way. Alright, so let's see here. We're going to have to probably just move the plastic, which will be pretty easy. So we have all of that filled in. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. And then the remaining ones are 3 coppers and a caterium. So we can have those come in from some other angle and it'll be fine. Alright, so let's take these plastic belts out. And there we go. So this is the new section which we need to have. And these need to go like this. Alright, so that will be for the petroleum coke. And then the plastic can just go a little bit wider. Like that. Alright, so now we bring that along. These go forwards. I'm going to need to leave enough space for the petroleum coke to make the curve. Which means bringing the plastic out to there. And cutting those back. Alright, plastic goes further this way. This should be far enough now. And that one. And we get this curve in again. Now it's doing a bit of a funky F shape, but that's fine. Because now we have this space. So, you can go there. And then these go a little bit further forwards because we have to get around the train. But then we can have these go out to, like, I guess there is about as far as it'll go without causing problems. So let's bring all these guys around that corner. Like so. And now we can just zigzag them in across this way. So then this will go forwards to default mode so that we don't have weird curves. I saw that was about to happen. Then all the rest of these guys come up with it. And one more. There we go. Alright, now we need to curve them around to get into that, which shouldn't be too bad. It's going to be a couple of curves. So this then goes around like that. And it's not quite aligned properly, but that's fine, as long as it is consistent with what we do over here. And speaking of which, these all go in. And that foundation goes across. So this is the far one. And, well, we're going to have to bring all these forwards a little bit and then worry about where they line up to. Alright, so this is the far one, so it has to go just like almost off of the line. And then the rest of these just line on like that. And then we go across. And it's close enough that we can just snap them across in one go. And petroleum coke, check. Alright, so with petroleum coke, good. We just have copper and caterium. So I think we're going to bring all four of those up together since they're coming from approximately the same spot. And what I want to do is bring this over here. Although that will technically use up a lot of my logistics floor space for this. That's fine. We can actually just have this first floor be a logistics floor. And that will make everything run a lot more smoothly. And if we're doing that, then there's definitely nothing to stop us from having these on like this. And they come over... Which way do they go? They go over this way. Alright, so that is going to be very marginally inconvenient for going on top of the, whatchamacallit, the train stations, but it's not actually a concern because they do fit in here. That's why I gave them the amount of space that I did. Alright, so then these all go this way. But then as for exactly where they go, we need to find the copper and caterium, because I think they might end up going over that way. Just based on where that stuff is. Right, we can sneak through this little hole in the floor, which I built for exactly that purpose, because otherwise it's very hard to get down through the floor when you're in the middle of that. Alright. Copper and caterium. So we can just pop splitter, splitter, splitter. That last one didn't snap to the belt. So this is left any center overflow. This is right any center overflow. This is right any center overflow. So you come out very easily. No problem there. You are going to have to do something a bit creative, which is like go back there and then up and then over and then you come down, and then you are going to just take a bit of space and also go up, then come around this way like that, and then down. Alright, so that was the tricky part, getting those out. And now we are just going to... Let's see, do we drag them over that way? No, let's bring the Caterium over here, because ultimately this is all going to have to go that way-ish. So you get a Smart Splitter, which is center overflow right any, and then this comes out. Alright, so now we have all of these, and we're just going to bring up another batch of 4, which will be centered on this tile, I think. So we have, gosh, if I can just get them lined up properly. It's a bit, I guess it's a bit hard to be doing from a distance. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then these come down. One of them will point this way for the Caterium, and the others will point the other way for the copper. Alright, and we're going to have to move this water pipe ever so slightly. It was almost not in the way, but it was ultimately in the way. So you go around there, and around there. And now you go in there. Alright. So now... Oh, I'm in the wrong hotbar. Just messing with pumps for some reason there, because I thought I was trying to do belts. So those all go up. As does this. Alright. So that is that. Now we just need to get these the rest of the way. Which is probably going to be easier said than done. Is there anything directly above this tile? No, there isn't. We actually have a straight shot. We actually have a straight shot, which means this should be pretty convenient. Unless maybe this is going to be a bit in the way, that belt there. Alright, so go. We're just going to have to shift that belt around a little bit. It's way easier to do that than mess with our nice, neat lifts. Alright, so that all goes down, and then this, pretty easy fix. We just have that go there, and this, which is actually the rubber belt, just has to come a bit around, and then in there. Alright, so that's solved, and now there's this water pipe, which we're also going to have to move out of the way. This thing that I thought was a straight shot was actually not at all. No, don't emote. Give me pipes. There we go. Now we should be clear. Now we should be clear and ready to go. So let's pop that in and then fill it up with the floor holes. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Alright, now we just have to drag all these belts down, and they're connected. Alright, just a little bit more. So we have one more full floor, then we just have to maneuver over there, get over the train system, and we'll be in. Alright, so that is going to have to cover something like that, and then 1, 2, 3. There was a lag spike, so that one didn't place. Alright, now these go down like this. Alright, so now we have to get it from here up to there and over to there. Should be relatively straightforward because there's nothing else particularly in the way. We just need to drag some foundations for us to go on while we do it. And we did get, like, weirdly close to running into this. I think this is the fuse train factory, which also has failed. Why has this failed? What is your problem? Your problem is that I never hooked the sink up. There. Alright, fixed. And that's probably a pretty significant supply of coupons, too. So it's good to get that fixed. We do want to get the golden nut eventually. That is one of the end goals of this game. Alright, so now these just go up to here, but unlike previous times, they don't go through because we are trying to leave that floor nice and clear. Alright, now we have to make a path to those belts. And I guess we can just go along like this. And off we go. Building on the bottom of foundations is much harder than building on the top for whatever reason. It feels like it should be the same, but it's slightly different. Alright, now we have to get over to here. So we have to make that corner. And then also hope that the Caterium belt is on the right side. I guess we can just flip the signs if it isn't. Alright, then one more of these. Like that. And now these all go over. To here, which will be our next stopping point. there. And that's another one. And one more. Alright, so now we just have to get this last little bit. Lunar Chris, hello. I'm doing pretty good. We are making serious progress on this, and it looks like, by sheer luck, the Caterium belt does seem to be on the right side, so that's convenient. We are just making a supercomputer factory. And currently we are just in the process of gathering up all the materials that we refined into a nice coordinated spot for them. So that goes there. This goes there, and then one more. Alright, hopefully now, are we going to be close enough to just snap directly across? Alright, at least for that one we are. I don't know. Yeah, so we're going to have to go a little bit further. And we're also going to have to actually take that out because it's got aligned wrong somehow. Alright, yeah, building directly on top of these at night. Can I just turn the lights on? There we go. I should have done that ages ago. I never think to do it until it's like extremely baffling that I can't see. I really wish it just was like automatically on when you booted up the game or something, as opposed to being off by default. Alright. I'm stuck. Get me out. There we go. Okay, so these actually go too far forwards, at least for that first one. So we're going to have to cut you back a little bit. And you are going to have to be aligned on like that. And then, let's see, the rest of these, straight mode will work. So we can just pop and pop and pop. Alright. So that is huge progress. We now have all of the solid ingredients for our supercomputers all on what will become a logistics floor. So what we need to do next is, let's actually make a sign for this. We need to distribute the belts. Alright, so I'm just going to create this sign and be staring at it when I close the game, so that it's sort of like extra note space, because my current note space is very much distribute belts. This is a logistics floor. Alright. So that should be good to go. So, yeah, I'll just log on staring at this sign so that I will remember what we're doing, which is just making it so that currently, like, some of these rubber belts are 600 and some of them are 300, and it's all weird, and I just want to basically just compress everything so we have as many full belts as possible and then only one belt that isn't full. And we're just going to do that for all of these and then start doing the crafting. And hopefully I didn't forget any important pieces to this recipe. But yeah, that will be that. Thanks everyone for hanging out. It's been a nice, productive day after a couple of days of banging my head against the wall with the fluids. We've finally gotten somewhere, and the lights all look green still. So that's a good sign. So yeah, that's going to be about it. Thanks everyone for hanging out. I will be back on Monday streaming Satisfactory again, where hopefully we can start putting some of these pieces together. And that's going to be about that. So make sure to follow if you haven't already. I stream every weekday from 2 to 5 Eastern Time. So if you're interested in that, make sure to stop by. I also play Factorio on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so if you're interested in that, you can stop by for that as well. But that's about it. Thanks for hanging out, and I will see you guys.